In this video today, I'm going to show you 3 basic beginning beatboxing rhythms that you can do in the didgeridoo. What's great about these rhythms is they do not require circular breathing, so even if you haven't mastered circular breathing yet, you can pick up the instrument right away and begin to play. Hi, this is Jerry Walsh from Didge Project in Brooklyn, New York. On this channel, you can find more videos on handpan, didgeridoo, beatboxing, percussion, and much more, so don't forget to hit subscribe. Today I'm going to teach this beatboxing lesson on the travel-friendly, amazing Airdidge, which you can find in the Didge Project store. It's collapsible, it's made of carbon fiber, and it plays in 3 different keys. The first rhythm is the first rhythm I ever learned with beatboxing. It is the most simple rhythm, and it sounds pretty cool too. So this is what it sounds like on the Didge. So this rhythm has 4 beats in it and 3 different sounds. The first sound is the buzz, which is in essence a kick drum for the beatboxing. So if you've ever played the didgeridoo before, you can make this sound, because this buzzing is how you actually make the fundamental drone sound of the instrument. The second sound that you include is an inhalation, except here with the inhalation you want to make sure that you do it intensely enough and loud enough and through the instrument with your mouth as opposed to your nose if you were normally playing, so that the inhalation not only fills your lungs but it is also a sound effect for the rhythm. And then after that we're going to have a snare. Try saying the word cats if you need to make this sound. Cats, cats. And then you want to exaggerate the enunciation and pronunciation of the first syllable of the C. So instead of just cats, we have cats, 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 cats. And then the last beat in the rhythm is another inhalation. So there's 4 sounds. There's and then through the Didge. So that right there is the most fundamental beatboxing rhythm that you could possibly learn on the Didge. It's very basic, very simple. And one of the most helpful things you can do when practicing music is just to establish a plateau with this particular rhythm and then get really comfortable with it, internalize it, and then just see what you can add differently. You can do things like drop a beat, you can double a beat up. So instead of going, you can do just adding another double step in there. I was adding in my voice as well. So instead of just going, I was going. So through the instrument, having the vocal adds a whole other layer to the rhythm, adds a whole other aspect of sound to it. So just kind of allowing your creativity to open up once you establish the foundation and the plateau of the rhythm will make a big difference. The other thing that I did was I pulled my mouth off the mouthpiece where I'm playing on just an angle, and it has this cool effect when you do that because the sound reverberates out, creating this kind of different texture to the vibration of the sound. So there's a difference between going so that's just one small thing you can do just to mix it up. And when you go back and forth, it has this kind of like pendulum sort of motion to the rhythm that adds a sort of swing to it that I think sounds really cool. Jump into the second one, which is a little bit more complicated. I got this rhythm from a beatboxing tutorial done by DubFX. I love this rhythm because it's very simple to memorize. At first it seems complicated. What I recommend you do is write this down and then just say it over and over again. And it took me about a day to 2 days of practicing this, not every second obviously, and then once I had it, I never lost it, and that was like 5 years ago or something like that. So the rhythm is basically written out like this: born to be clever, too clever to be too clever, with an inhale at the end. So born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. Okay, so I recommend just writing down born to be clever, too clever to be too clever. And just hold it up and just say it over and over again. Like any process of memorization, it's an aspect of training the mind kind of through muscle memory and just sort of letting go of the intellect and allowing the body just to take over. So just practice that for a little bit. Now I did a couple different things there. At first I started the rhythm like this with that kind of sound, and I'm making that sound just by saying the letter B in the first word and over exaggerating the first syllable. So instead of just born, it's born, born, born. You're just taking the top and the bottom lip, pushing them together, adding more pressure to create that extra burst. Born, born, born. And then what I did is that I actually changed it to a buzz. So you can do either one. You can go back and forth if you've kind of mastered it and figure it out from there, but you can go, or you can do, so there's variations on what you can do with the first kick drum. The other sound that you're getting is the hi-hat, the so that sound is made just by kind of vocalizing TS. So born to be clever, born to be clever, born to be clever, born to be clever. And that kind of adds in just like the hi-hat on the drum kit, the that kind of sound. So what I recommend doing is just to say this phrase over and over again, really slowly, but really over-exaggerate how much you are like articulating each syllable. So So that's a really fun rhythm. It's very simple. Once you just memorize that phrase, it kind of comes pretty naturally. There's another little variation within the phrase that I'm doing where it's not just the hi-hat and the born. I'm kind of adding an extra percussive punch within the phrase. And it's pretty subtle, but as a player, I notice it very, very much so. I'm kind of adding this sound. And through the Didge, it's really powerful, especially if you have a microphone. So what I'm doing there is I'm sort of bringing my tongue, like these are, if you can see that, these are my lips. My tongue comes in like that, right between both lips. And then I am adding pressure, pushing the tongue to the lips, and then I'm snapping it back down. So it's like, and it creates this kind of like snapping of the fingers sort of motion and pressure. So, and I kind of add that into the phrase. So when I'm saying born, you can hear it throughout it as I'm pronouncing the B. It's in the twos. So born. It's in the 2 beat part of the phrase. So that's something you can just work on. It's just kind of adding the tongue to come forward in between the lips and add more pressure. And it adds a additional percussive sound that is not just the hi-hat of the tss. The last rhythm I want to show is in between in terms of difficulty between the Born to be Clever, Too Clever to be Too Clever rhythm and the very first one we did. It's kind of like a simple rock rhythm. It's like so that rhythm is basically, you first have a kick, buzz, so then you have a hi-hat, then you have a snare, then you have hi-hats, and the last thing is that snare and inhale. So now I'm going to show you the same rhythm in double time. So with the second variation of the rhythm we're adding double time, you're adding in a additional percussive articulation. You're adding a P into the TS. So it's not just it's just adding that after the TS. It adds a double time where you're expanding on the beat and adding more layer to the percussion. So learning to just add an additional percussive element to it will double up the speed and add more layer to the rhythm. Very simple to do, and it's the same thing as I explained in the past two rhythms. The first sound is that fundamental drone buzz sound with the lips. This sound is excellent because this is how you can kind of regulate the breath if you're doing inhalations. Like the whole trick with beatboxing is learning how to maintain a equilibrium of the breath, so you're not exhaling too much air, nor are you trying to inhale too much air. So having a balance between the and the will keep you in a place where you can hold the rhythm for a long time. These beatboxing rhythms are a lot of fun because if you're a fan of the didgeridoo and maybe circular breathing is really challenging for you, you can pick it up right away and do these rhythms because they're not complicated and be able to make music with the instrument. There's a lot you can do in terms of adding variations to these rhythms. It took me, I would say, a good couple weeks, maybe a month or two, until I really felt like I could start to have a sense of creative flow with the rhythms where I wasn't just holding the same thing over and over again. Give yourself some patience and time to practice each rhythm and see what happens. And like with each one, plateau, internalize it, and then add variations as you see fit with it. Again, this lesson was taught on the carbon fiber Airdidge, which you can find in the Didge Project store. It's collapsible and plays in 3 different keys. Thank you for watching this video. You can find more videos on handpan, didgeridoo, percussion, and beatboxing on Didge Project's YouTube channel. Remember to hit subscribe and see you next time. Thank you.